Hello, friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast, where East meets West, and I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley, here at Health Optimization Summit. I was late for the podcast, but my guest has been very gracious. Nathalie Niddam is here with me today, and she has the coolest look, the coolest vibe. Thank you for joining me today.
Chris, thank you for joining me, and thank you for being late, because usually I'm the late one. So you took over for me.
Oh,
it's nice to be not late for a change.
When I was walking, we found out, we were talking with Bev, and Christy, who produces, wrote these things down, and I was like, oh my goodness, what happened? But thankfully, running back over here, we're going to start. But I like the energy to be nice and calm, even though I was the one who made this mistake. But first of all, foremost, really appreciate you coming out and being willing to talk with me today, because
thank you for having me. This is great.
To me, I like to look at the feed and the accounts of individuals that some of us all know each other in some way in these circles of health. But we're talking about bioregulators, we're talking about peptides, things that are super important. We're talking about longevity here. But the biggest thing I love to know about you, I just want to know about you, that stories of people's lives are what really drives me. So, you know a lot about genetics, epigenetics, you know things about longevity, but what brought you into the whole realm? What was your passion? Why did you come to this?
I think I get asked that question a lot, and I think I've always been curious about science. I will often say, I was the kid that read National Geographic cover to cover.
Sorry, you're that girl in the corner that was reading. I'm not trying to.
I was so, oh my God, such a geek. And I had collections, I didn't want to throw them away. I never went back to them, but I didn't want to throw them away. So I was that kid who was always really curious, and it wasn't just science, it was all the things, right? The natural world, it was about humanity. It was an interesting way to kind of fill my brain, right? Yeah. And then I kind of, although when I went in school, I was really good at language, I was also really good at science. And so I ended up studying physiology in university. Oh. But then the language thing got the better of me, and I ended up in sales,
Really?
In corporate sales most of my adult life. But I was always a fitness instructor, which always kind of kept my hand in the health space a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it wasn't until about 15 years ago, I think, that maybe less than, somewhere between 10. I don't actually know how long ago it was. It was a while ago. I went back to school to become a nutritionist. Wow. And it was kind of coming home for me.
You felt like you were actually drawn back to this arena.
I just never really wanted to leave it. And I got to the point, you can only wake up so many mornings thinking, they're not paying me enough to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care about this anymore. The whole, I was selling advertising, I was selling space. And it was a great, don't get me wrong, it was a great career, it was super fun. Mm-hmm. But I got to the point where I was it left me empty. Mm. And this was at the time when Dave Asprey, Mark Sisson, Rob Wolf, all these guys were kind of coming. J.J. Virgin was I think even Dr. Sarah Gottfried at the time was much bigger. And that whole conversation around, the Paleolithic diet, the bulletproof diet, could we be feeding our bodies better? That whole thing was coming up, and the biohacking, the bulletproof diet. And I was so fascinated with the whole thing, and kind of reading about it and talking to my chiropractor about it. And one day he just said to me, he said, Nat, you should be getting paid to do this, because I'd be downloading all the stuff I was reading to him. And when he said that to me, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And within a week, I'd registered to go back to school and become a nutritionist. It was like, boom. It was like an epiphany moment.
You knew, because when those points where something hits you, I always say hits you, knocks you on the side of the head, you're like, I really was meant to do this. Were you good, if you're saying you were, because if you're reading National Geographic, you're good at sales, you're good at looking at people, and I told you this right when I met you, I was like, you are so good at knowing what people think. I know you are, and I know you're good at sort of figuring out people out before they know what they need. Mm-hmm. I know you are good at that, but it's a beautiful thing in health. Is that how it's been since you're a kid? You're able to take problems and just have a good way of fixing the problem, making steps and such?
Yeah, I think I'm good at reading people, but I also think and I'm not practicing as a nutritionist as much anymore. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I've always felt that whether I was coaching people or working with them as a nutritionist, I often don't know, like I've done my homework and my research, and of course you know, like, oh, this person's got gut issues or this, that, and the other thing. But very often I find that there's an energetic exchange that happens when you're sitting across the table from someone.
Yes.
And it's almost like the solutions come to you. This is going to sound woo, guys. I'm really sorry. But there's a piece of feeling and intuition that comes into play that guides the conversation. And part of it is in the what's happening with the person, but the other big piece of it is what's happening with the person.
Yes.
What's happening up here? What's stopping them? What's holding them back? And I think that for any good practitioner, and there are some spectacular practitioners out there, and I think that's where medicine kind of got robbed. Because in the pressures that doctors are under these days, whether it's time constraints, financial constraints, the constraints of the profession that's put on them by their colleges, they are no longer able, most of them, to access that intuition that probably a lot of them had, because they came to this for a reason.
That's right.
Right?
That's totally
and
right.
I just think that if you look at the old style doctor who would sit and talk to the patient and take the time to do an intake and take the time to understand and realize, oh, you're really sick because you've had that leak in your roof for the last 5 years, and probably, like that kind of stuff.
That is, it truly, when there's that, they said the bedside manner, and I agree with you about the intuitive nature of the practitioner, to the point where we've both been doing it for a while. And I had a conversation with a colleague, and we were talking about when somebody tells you something, and you can inherently, not like being very haughty or cocky, you can say, I have an idea, because you just listen to their history and you can go, I can pretty much nail that on the head. And I know it's because you're right, the intuitive nature, and there's a decline in it, I believe. You're right. And what do you think that is, though, like with the doctors?
Pressure. I think it's pressure. I think they don't have the time and the space anymore. Very often. I think 99% of doctors are in it for all the right reasons. They're here to help people, but the reality of their profession has robbed them of the luxury of time. And you can't replace the luxury of time, right? And I think intuition is great, but intuition needs to be laid on top of having learned skills.
That's amazing.
Right?
Is that why I've had a lot of practitioners where I live, they had to go and do like more private practice or try to get away from that, because they would have, the hospitals would say, hey, you only have 5 to 8 minutes to do that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's why we're seeing so many physicians who are leaving conventional practice because they're frustrated that they're not able to help people in the way that they want to. Yeah. They're moving into more functional or integrative aspects of medicine that, first of all, it brings them up to speed in many ways, because what they're being taught in med school is very far behind where the science is right now, just because of the nature of the beast. It's not that they want, there's different people in the world. You have people who learn what they learn in med school, and this is what they're going to do. Yep. Then you have doctors who learn what they learn in med school, but they just continue to keep learning.
Yes.
And so that's that type of person. But ultimately, I think that, I don't even know how we got on the subject, but I think that in medicine, you just have a group of people who are trying to do the best that they can, and they're just trying to survive and help people as best as they can within the parameters that they're given.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think we're seeing so many of these physicians leaving that side of the profession to try to move into a space. The problem is that now they're in the world where they have to charge people money because the system won't pay for it anymore. This
is a great conversation. This is a great subject, because we both see, like, there's people that do concierge service, and honestly, they'll do, if they say, oh, you're going to need to pay me $6,000 to $8,000, $10,000 a year, but honestly, you have access to the doc, and some people say, no, I'm willing to pay that, and other people can't do it.
Well, they just can't.
They just can't. Yeah. And it is, we both see, like, you're in Canada, I'm here, but I had patients that are overseas, and they'll say, like, we're in Italy, and we paid like $40 for this really great, healthcare, and you wish there were that healthcare was cheaper, and could they set the system up where it was, more tangible for people to buy and to pay for it. You started to take all this information, you started downloading. What was, when you started, diving in, what was your favorite thing, like you first started when you were learning?
At the beginning?
At the beginning.
Well, so the first thing was food is medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why nutrition, and I come from a very food-centered culture, and so it's all about food. And so the whole aspect that food is medicine really resonates for me at a cultural level, at a cellular level, right? And so the food is medicine thing was a big thing. And I would say that once, the next thing that, so my husband would say, he would basically accuse me of having shiny object syndrome because right? It's like all about the food. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, genetics and epigenetics. Oh my God, that's so cool. So I did continuing education there.
Yeah.
And then once I got into the biohacking space and did the courses there and that's studying that, obviously getting into this aspect of, which back then, like now everybody's talking about this stuff, but helping people to understand that the stories that they tell themselves very much can be an obstacle to their ability to progress, both personally, but also from a health challenge perspective, right?
Yeah.
So that inner dialogue, that piece of the puzzle that is so underestimated. A person who believes they're going to die will probably die. A person who believes they will overcome has a better chance of overcoming. Doesn't mean that they will, but it means that, and if they don't, they're still going to most likely will have had a better journey, whatever that journey is.
That's like when you say, if you say somebody's going to say, I'm going to die. I hope this, if somebody out there is listening, they go, I have some inner dialogue. So what's that inner dialogue? Is it saying something to yourself every day, or is it just like the belief? Is that what happens?
Well, I think it's both, but I think the language that you use is so important. And I'm trying to pinpoint when I started to learn this, and it may have been during that, back in the day, I was in that first class of the Bulletproof Coach Training Program, which turned out to be, and I remember when I hit, again, that was like a 10-minute decision that I made. And it was the most money I'd ever spent on anything. And I thought, oh my God, did I just spend all that money to learn about the bulletproof diet? And it wasn't. It was really about coaching people.
Yeah.
And it was in that course that they really connected the dots for us about how important the inner dialogue that you have with yourself is to your outcome in every way. How the things that you say to you inform your subconscious, whose only job is to deliver what you believe.
That's profound.
Right? It's its only job.
That's very good.
And when you say, you're killing me, this is killing me, and we think that it's just words, it's informing your body. Right?
That's correct.
And so helping people to understand that if we can reframe these ideas into something that is more constructive and allows for growth instead of putting you up against a dead end.
That is great.
That can be so powerful to people.
Truly, because the individual out there would say, they could think about just like not blaming somebody else, but they could say like the people around you, they're like, man, it's like I can't grow around this person, or like, yeah, like you can hear parents sometimes like, oh, they're killing me. The kids are killing me, and I'm like,
and they say it to their child,
and the child may start believing it. With this inner dialogue, that being in the coaching realm, the first step of like learning people, is that one of the first things that you would love to teach somebody? Like you got to watch your verbiage, you got to watch what you say.
It's a conversation that has to be had, and you get it from people in their conversations with you.
Oh, can you pick it apart? Like
you hear it from them, right? Like, I can't do this.
Yes.
Right? My body won't do this. This is not, and it's like, really?
And it's like, or they'll say, they identify themselves with the condition they have. Like, I'm Lyme disease. Like, literally, that's what I think they're saying in some ways.
It is. I have Lyme, and it becomes a part of the identity, right? Why is it that some people can have, now, there are worse cases than others. Some people's immune system is more compromised. Your Lyme could have been triggered. And again, not to dismiss anybody's condition and what their lived experience is, but understanding that you can have two people with the same condition with very different journeys. Or did you ever read the book Radical Remission? I keep bringing it. It's like, I don't know what it is about this week. It keeps coming up for me.
Radical Remission. No, I had. It was literally. Was it a year and a half ago? Has it been like one of my friends said you got to read this book, and I never picked it up. But what's it about? I want to hear this.
So Radical Remission is essentially about the outliers, people who had cancer, who had been given a terminal diagnosis, who outlived that diagnosis. In some cases, they're still alive today. In other cases, they were given a month to live, they lived a year, or they lived 5 years, or they lived 10 years. And radical remission is what the medical profession will label, put on that folder. They had a radical remission.
That's what
that we can't explain. And this is something that I don't remember if she was a med student or a PhD student working in a doctor's office, and she kept coming across these files that said radical remission on them. And she was like, what's up with these guys? And he's like, yeah, you know what, we don't have an explanation for that. So, they're off to the side. And she's like, well, wait, shouldn't we actually be
studying these? Yes.
Looking to see? And so she made it her mission to start to try and understand, were there common threads? Like, was there a supplement? Is there a gizmo? What was it that is there anything that these people had in common? And in the end, she came up with, I think it was 9 things.
9 things.
9 things that these people had in common. And the 9 things, and I don't remember the 9 because I read the book a million years ago. But the things that really stuck with me is they got rid of toxic relationships.
Oh.
They all had community around them that supported them. Oh. They may have released toxic jobs. They changed their diets. They did do that.
They did change their diets.
They did change their diets. They did change their lifestyle. They got rid of the stress. They moved themselves into a world where they themselves were able to heal and to take care of themselves. And so, when you read that, you're like, whoa. And I know people who've overcome cancer who never should have. Now, I also know people who had the best attitude on the planet who still succumbed to cancer. So I'm not saying that, all you got to do is think it away. It's all in your head. That's not true.
Yeah.
But even the people who succumb to it, if they're able to move themselves and reframe things, there's a better journey to be had.
Yes.
Right? And
Definitely.
And the problem is that the fear, the uncertainty, all of those things are real things that you need support with.
Yes.
And finding the right community, finding the right practitioners who can help you to move past and to work with it is going to be as important as getting access to the right treatments. And sometimes you need, and I'm not going to denigrate conventional treatments because sometimes you need them.
Yeah.
But there's also holistic treatments that you can do side by side. And you get people like, I don't know, I'm sure you've met, and I don't know if you've interviewed Dr. Naisha Winters.
Yes.
But
she's got some amazing stories.
I mean, her personal story, right?
Yes.
This is a woman who at the age of 19 was told you have stage 4 ovarian cancer. There's nothing we can do for you. She's, 50-something years old now? She's educated thousands of practitioners.
And having a beautiful, this really great center she's created and training. It's beautiful.
And it's a metabolic terrain theory. And not every case that they get are they going to be able to, put them into remission. But what they're teaching is rebuilding the body. It's helping, but the mindset, the attitude, the energy also has to be part of that.
I really appreciate that because learning and understanding that a person's, their words, the energy, the people around them can actually affect their physical health. When you were learning that, you see these examples like remission. Do you see, it took me a while. Whenever I was working with patients, I do a lot of Chinese medicine and things, and we talk about the energy, and I can tell you're very intuitive, and you can feel energetics around people. And I think people out there would too. They're like, when I'm around this person, I can feel a little off, or I feel really great. That dialogue within the practitioner is very special. You have to have that ability to say, knowing somebody saying, I think this relationship is not great for you. When did that start for you? Knowing, was that always something you could do? You could tell, you could feel people's energy? I mean, I could tell you do. Do you feel like you can? I could tell
to a point.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I don't overplay it.
Yeah.
And I think that the best way to help people is to ask them the questions they need to be asking themselves.
Oh, yeah. That is
right?
perfect.
You're not telling them anything. Because I think, if you're a TCM doctor, so you know this, the answer is within. They know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe the practitioner's role really is helping them to connect with that.
That I am with you. I think that inherently when we are helping someone, we're coaching somebody through an issue, I find like the times where I think they hit the biggest epiphanies are they really already told me their issue and they already presented it to me, and I would you had to circle back around and just hopefully that they'll catch on to it at times.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not to say that there's not remedies that they need or medications that this is not to take away from the treatment piece of it. I just think that the emotional piece is the piece that we have to help people with, or that people need to get. I mean, look at Joe Dispenza's work, right? Like some of the results that he gets.
Talk on that. That's crazy.
Like they have no business. People have no business healing. Like somebody just told me about a case, and I think it was a relative of theirs. I can't remember who it was, but it was a relative of theirs who got a horrible diagnosis about, and unfortunately, it was a cancer diagnosis. They had really big tumors, and forgive me, this is not going to be exact, but in this person's case, they took a leave from their job, which was a very stressful job. And for, I want to say it was 3 months, they completely changed their lives. They started to meditate, they changed their diet, they gave them time, they gave themselves the time and the space, they connected with family and the whole, all the things that we talk about. And they went back and they did a scan, and the tumors had shrunk.
Oh.
But here's the bad news. They went back to their job.
And then
And within 3 months, the tumors had grown back.
Oh, my goodness.
And in the end, they succumbed. Because they weren't able to, they weren't able to sustain whatever that they, and I mean, their doctors were amazed. They were like, what have you done? How did you do this? What did you take? What did you do? And again, I don't want people to take away from this, because if you're dealing with something like this, I'm not here to tell you that it's all in your head and it's your fault or whatever the case may be. Yeah. All I'd like to offer you is the possibility that giving yourself the time and the space to do a different level of healing will support your journey, even if, and is along with whatever treatments are right for you, whether they're conventional treatments or alternative treatments. Like I know people who did the alternative treatments and did the mindset stuff, but they needed the conventional treatment.
Yes.
And they didn't take it, and it cost them their lives. So we have to, I think we're in a space where people want to be so black and white about everything. Like allopathic medicine is bad, and alternative medicine is good, this is bad. We're at a point now where we need to be able to have an open enough discussion that says, what of these many different things can I bring in to help me in my journey?
I completely agree. I think that there's many practitioners we both know that there's at times when people say, well, I won't use, and this is not making jokes about anybody. I really mean this. Like I won't use this hand sanitizer because it has this type of chemical on it. I get that because that's just how people view, their clean, like being detoxed. But modern medicine has saved my life. I had a ruptured ulcer, and what would happen? I mean, I had to get a stomach surgery, and when you say Joe Dispenza about the tumors, one friend of mine, she's very holistic. She had some lung issues, tumor striations, and it's always an encouragement to be in a world where you can say, well, you probably need to get it medically, like Western medically, checked and addressed, and then I can do my best to help out. And it was beautiful because always keeping a monitor on it, and the doctor finally went, well, it doesn't appear to have cancerous activity. It looks more like it's a fungal issue. But they would have never known that if they wouldn't have done Western testing. And I'm like, you guys, don't be afraid of the Western testing of it. And I understand some people's reservations, I do, because they'll come to us, and did they ever do that to you? And they hopefully, I'm thankful they trust in us, but they want us to give them different information so they don't have to go to the Western medicine. I'm like, no, you need to go get that checked and get it examined. With this, you've dealt with, like, in this whole realm of like longevity, you're very good at seeing trends, and I'm trying to get better at it. I stay in my little cave, guys, and I just do acupuncture and stuff like that. With things going into longevity, things going into peptides, we talk about biomarkers, And I think it's a beautiful realm. Like, this is where it should be. We were talking about that. Like, what is your favorite aspect now that's going on now?
I think we're at such an exciting time, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a few different areas that are that are exploding. And one of them is quantification. One of them is testing, like home testing. The home tests you can do now are mind-blowing, right? Like you look at the Theriome test that's checking. Theriome is this crazy test. It's a blood spot test. I'll introduce you to them.
Yes.
And they're looking at the metabolome. They're looking at 12 different areas of function within your body and looking for imbalances. And after you've done your test, they sit with a PhD who's going to give you suggestions. Sometimes it's diet. I mean, for my case, he's like, you need to cut down on the number of supplements you're taking.
Really?
You're overwhelming your body with supplements. You need to pull back. And I'm like, wait, what? It's like, and of course, the problem is like in the business I'm in and you're in, we get boxes of stuff sent to us all the time. We're like, well, I got to try this and I got to try that.
That's the truth. Yep.
But the home testing, there's another test. There's a cancer test. The Cancer Check Labs, I think they're called.
Cancer Check Lab.
It's a home blood test, and they can detect tumor activity at stage 0.
What?
Yeah. There's another test called the Aurea test, which is a tear test. So it's a little piece of paper that you stick in your eye, and it turns out that women who have breast cancer will express 2 different proteins. And it's over 90% accurate. Not 100, but it's over 90. So could it be that you do that, and that might say, you need to go get checked?
That is amazing.
Right? And these are just 3 of the home tests. Like there's a whole whack of them at this point. Like, and they're coming out fast and furious. And the degree of insight that a practitioner can get. And then you get things like the SpectraCell test, which is going to look at like at your microminerals or micronutrients in your blood cell. And maybe if we correct those imbalances and we're experiencing dis-ease in some way, we're experiencing imbalances, but it turns out that there's micronutrients that need to be rebalanced. How interesting would it be to rebalance those micronutrients to see what happens next?
Yes.
And now what's the next thing we need to deal with?
This is so good. You're blowing my mind. Like I got to meet some of these.
And they're all out there. It's just, and these are just a handful, right? And then so testing is really, really, and a lot of it has to do with bringing AI into the conversation in a positive way.
Yes.
The next area that I think is really incredible, obviously, is regenerative medicine. So can we tap into natural resources of the body, whether it's different stem cell fractions or not autologous, but stem cells from the outside, or exosomes, or whatever the case may be. And we have doctors who are showing that they're helping the body. Notice this, they're triggering the body to regenerate from the inside out, right? So have you interviewed Dr. Jeff Gross yet?
I don't think so.
I will introduce you.
Really?
So Dr. Jeffrey Gross has shown that he can inject stem cells into the growth plate in an adult, in the leg, and help to cartilage to regrow.
No.
Okay, regenerating cartilage is not a thing.
No.
Not supposed to be able to grow cartilage when you're an adult.
It's done, that's what they say, it's done.
But apparently not so much, right? So there's the regenerative medicine piece. There's the testing. There's the strides that are being made in neurofeedback and understanding, where the deficiencies in a person's brain, and can we help to rebuild the pathways or build new pathways to make up for those things. And sometimes you're stuck in a negative loop mentally, and it's not your fault. Because that neural pathway is so ingrained in you. But there's ways to retrain the thoughts, retrain new pathways. And, you kind of like, this is the path through the forest that It's all bush over here. But if we can help you to kind of clear a new path and reinforce it, now that will become the path more traveled.
And if you have these new pathways, because now we have amazing ways to test for, and I think it's our jobs is to let people know, because at some of these, when I go by there, I get so intrigued. Literally, when I'm walking past, they'll say, this device does this. And I'm like, what? And, you know, because we're, you know, old school how I am, like, we have friends that do the Zona machine. They're like, it's just isometric, you know, Mark, and they'll say, well, this creates nitric oxide. And in my mind, I'm thinking that makes complete sense that it does that, like, because the research says that isometrics would do that. But having now these capabilities, like you doing like your eyes and finding out if somebody has a possibility of having breast cancer, that's crazy cool.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you see these, I know like I would too, I'd gobble them up. Now, where do you see the future going with, like, when you say biomarkers? Where do you want to see it? I know it's going to get bigger and bigger, but AI, okay, I want you to talk on this. But I had a friend, and he's one of my best buds. And, you know, with what I do, I mean, we always go back and forth, and we would get some things for him to do, and it is really helping him. But I was going to start this program eventually with one doc who's a medical doctor down in Florida. And my friend was telling me about it, but basically, which I think is very important with all males should you need to get your prostates checked, you need to get your bladders checked, because males, even in the Chinese medicine world, are very big carriers of UTIs. You don't know you have them.
Oh, wow.
But I'm telling you, most all males will have it in some time, and it's going to be repetitive if you don't clean it out. So all I have to say is that this AI app, I believe, it'll take the urinalysis of the individual, and my friend had some skin stuff. And they spit that out. I hate to say spit. The AI was going through it. He told him what homeopathics, which probiotics he needed, and his skin's starting to clear up. And it's crazy that the AI did it.
Well, it's crunching data in a way that we, like, you know, I think AI used properly is, and because AI is only as smart as the information we put into it, except that once you've trained AI well enough, it can now start connecting dots that we can't necessarily see.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly right.
Because it's interesting, you know, you come from a traditional Chinese medicine world. That's 5,000 years old. That's 5,000 years of data. That's 5,000 years of learning. And like, it's between TCM and Ayurvedic medicine, there is such wisdom in these professions. But the thing is, it takes a really long time to get good at it, right? And you're always learning, which is fantastic because we are always learning. But what if we could take AI and train it and help to guide us? I mean, this may be a stupid thing to say, but I don't think AI will ever fully replace the human practitioner because there are nuances, like what we talked about earlier, the energetic exchange, the asking of certain questions, the helping people to trust themselves and the practitioner to share and dig up that information that they've hidden. So those pieces will never be an AI, well, never's a long time, but I just don't imagine that. But for AI to be able to connect the dots in a certain way, because we just can't take in that much data, and then present us with possibilities, and then allow the practitioner to take it from there to the next step.
I mean, I'm so impressed with it, and I get it, because when I've asked some AI apps about in Chinese medicine about congruency between systems, and you're right, it's so much information. Like we see Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine books, and they're that thick.
Oh my God, and itty bitty teeny tiny print.
And I'm like, I'll read some, and I think I have a decent understanding of some, and then I'll read something new, and then I'm like, wow, I did not know that. And then I have practitioners and non-practitioners say, hey, I took some of this text, I put it in the AI app, and I was asking about my daughter, and my daughter has this symptom, and it says, what's the relationship between this organ and this organ? And it showed through a text, like, this is what the spleen's doing to the lung. And I was like, what? Like mucus and phlegm building and the relationship between the organs, where I wouldn't have necessarily found that out if I had to go and research every single text. But the AI was able to do it, and you know what? I'm just impressed because we used cold laser on the patient's spleen, and it cleared up her lung stuff.
Boom.
I mean, and I know people have their reservations, and I think that you cite the nuances. Do you feel like, since we can feel somebody's patterns, and I think some practitioners...
Human Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I think there's practitioners, and I'm not saying I'm one of those. I was just saying practitioners out there are so gifted that, you kind of got an idea, and you're right, I don't think AI could do that, where a person can change instantly because of the way they're thinking, and the practitioner is like, oh.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget that our mind is powerful enough to affect our epigenetic expression.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Right? Our mind, our thoughts are powerful enough to turn genes on and off. Our stress levels are strong enough to affect our hormones.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So and maybe AI can ask the question, but I don't know that humans can communicate as well with AI as they would with another human. So,
Yeah.
But I do think that AI is bringing a degree of power into the health space that will take us to can take us to whole new levels. Like there's a supplement company. Have you come across Healthgevity?
I've heard of it.
Michael Antonelli?
I've heard Michael Antonelli, but I don't know, like, I haven't tested or anything. But.
So what's cool about, well, there's lots that's cool about what he does, but what's really interesting is that he's working with a bunch of different companies that are using AI to uncover new peptides.
Wow.
Right? So they have one product, there's a company called Neuritas, and they've found a peptide, which is essentially an amino acid sequence extracted from fava beans that triggers muscle growth in people. So he's taken that and integrated it into a supplement called Longevity that helps to build muscle. Now, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to start taking the supplement, take your 4 capsules a day, and wake up in the morning and have big muscles. But what if it's just help, and you'd have to eat buckets of fava beans, which, fava beans are great, but they're not that good. So to get the right amount of peptides. No, we're not going to go there. But how interesting that now AI can be leveraged for that. For that purpose, right? And scientists have been using computer modeling for decades. Like, we may not get to bioregulators today, but Vladimir Kavensin, who essentially discovered bioregulators and studied them for decades, if you go into his literature, they have computer imaging of the bioregulator peptide interacting with DNA.
What?
Yeah, like they actually have computer, and it's the most elegant thing on the planet, right? Yeah. Like the bioregulator comes in, and it actually affects the histones, and the DNA unravels just enough so that the bioregulator can attach to its destination and upregulate the production of proteins. And sometimes you get 2 bioregulators together, and one opens the door and the other so that the other one can get in. Like, it's crazy stuff.
Oh,
right?
it's just so beautiful about how you say it.
Like, it's so elegant. It's like a dance.
It's a dance. It's like if you're doing like a nice dance and you're like, oh, it led you right into it. And you're like, that just happened in your DNA, and you're unwinding your DNA.
Every minute of every hour of every day.
And having millions of time. So with bioregulators, we're seeing this new advance. Like, who's the leading person in bioregulators out there, or who, in your opinion, do you have is there?
You mean the researcher? Mm-hmm. Well, so unfortunately, Dr. Kavensin tragically passed away a couple of years ago, and he was not an old. And so a lot of people will go, well, if bioregulators are so great, how come he's dead?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different theories I've heard fly around, so I'm not going to float any of them because I think there's some conspiracy stuff in there. There's some vax stuff in there. There's all kinds of stuff, but it was not from his bioregulators. I've heard lots of stories. I'm not going to share any of them because I just don't want to put anything out there that's not true. So he would have been the foremost scientist in the bioregulator space because he's the guy that figured out that there's these tiny little proteins that occur in every form of life. Plants, bugs, animals, peoples, all the things. And once scientists find something that's preserved across species, they generally think, all right, well, if Mother Nature thought this was so important, probably it's really important. Wow. And so he went down that rabbit hole and developed this entire category of therapeutic agents that are essentially drawn from Mother Nature's playbook that occur naturally in our bodies, but that can be reapplied therapeutically to initiate regeneration at a cellular level.
And it's seen and through all aspects, like you can see plants, animals, insects, and bugs.
All the things. And so that's pretty cool, right?
I mean, to me, I'm like, and he passed away tragic. Okay, yeah, we need off screen. We'll talk about that. But then what's really interesting, so to produce those
to reproduce them, to bring them back and test them out therapeutically, he went to animal organs.
Ooh.
Because the liver bioregulator comes from the liver.
Oh, my goodness.
And the heart bioregulator comes from the heart.
Yep.
And the lung bioregulator comes from the lungs. And so on and so forth for the ovaries, for the prostate, for the adrenals, for the thyroid. And what other medicine do we have that is like that? Homeopathy.
Homeopathy.
Right?
Yep.
Glandulars.
That's exact glandulars.
Right?
Yep.
And then even organs. Think about in history, all of these tribes, all of these people eating animal organs. If somebody had a heart condition, they would give them heart. If somebody had a brain condition, they'd give them the brain. If somebody had a liver condition, they'd give them the liver. Like, it's like treats like. So
it's exactly what it is.
Right?
And it's like, you can see that individuals could think that, you know, when you have literally scientific bioregulators being researched and you see this, then they would think that, oh, you have a culture that would give somebody a heart to help their heart. That's kind of woo-woo. I'm like, no, it's literally like...
It's CoQ10 and those little amino acid chains.
Oh, that's crazy.
But with the bioregulator peptides, when you're taking them therapeutically as a capsule or you're using the synthetic version, you're getting a therapeutic dose. But here's what's really interesting. Your therapeutic dose on a synthetic bioregulator, the maintenance dose is 100 micrograms. Micrograms. A therapeutic dose might be 500 micrograms or a milligram. Whereas on the natural bioregulator, because now you're getting the bioregulator with its entourage of other amino acids and small proteins and whatever the case may be, you're now looking at a 10 milligram dose.
Wow. So that you can synthesize that, so you can actually, it depends on like what's accompanying that other bioregulator.
Yeah, so that's on the natural bioregulator side. So the research would say that the natural bioregulator might take a little longer to exert its effect, but the effects may last longer. Whereas with the synthetic bioregulator, you get a cleaner hit. It's going right to the target, but it might not last quite as long.
Well, and that's a really good point. Like with bioregulators, if it doesn't last so long, what is the duration? Like, let's say, you know, you need something like a peptide, a bioregulator peptide to like fix your heart. And I know everybody's different. Everybody's physiology is different. But does the research say like you would need to just stay on the peptide for the rest of your life? Which I have no qualms about that. I mean, would that be the case?
So my least favorite, most favorite answer is it depends. And so with the bioregulators, what a lot of the research he did, he would use bioregulators in conjunction with conventional medicine.
Oh wow!
Because bioregulators play really nicely
with conventional.
Anything, because all the bioregulators doing. Remember, all it's doing is binding with the DNA and upregulating regeneration and potentially helping fix the DNA's ability to fix from the inside. Because when we're little kids, we fix. We repair really fast. And then as we get older, we don't repair so fast. And part of that is because we have a higher toxic load and maybe we have built up deficiencies and any number of things. But also, our DNA gets damaged, and so it can't repair as efficiently. So there's a researcher who was working very closely with Dr. Cavinson until his early demise. His name is Bill Lawrence, and his theory is that what the bioregulator is actually doing is restoring the DNA, is repairing the DNA.
Oh man!
Right, in those aspects. So the synthetic bioregulator is really good at that because it's very precise. But the oral nutritional bioregulator, it's a little closer to food. It's a little bit closer to the natural state. Wow. So it's just going to do a different job. The same, but different.
Oh, this is like a whole series. Like, I mean, this is like a whole like book in itself. Is there like, have you written a book about bioregulators, or is there a book out there that?
Well, I don't feel like I'm the right person to write the book because I'm not the researcher. At the end of the day, I'm resharing information that I've learned from other people. But I think there's a new book that just came out from a doctor who actually lives on an itty-bitty little teeny-tiny island in Hawaii.
Really?
Like the tiniest little island you've ever seen. Her name is Dr. Robin Rose, and so there's two Robin Roses. Two Dr. Robin Roses. One of them, anyway, the one I'm talking about is obsessed with chronic kidney disease, CKD. And because she healed herself.
Yes.
But she fell for bioregulators really hard. So she's literally just released a book, which is, it's written for practitioners. So a layperson reading it, to begin with, it's going to put you to sleep. And Robin, please forgive me for saying this. It's not that it's boring. It's that it's so dense in information.
Yeah.
Like, she did a deep dive, but at the end of the book, and this is the reason you might want to own the book, even if you can't read the whole thing, she created a materia medica for bioregulators.
Okay, I'm going to get this book. Mind blown. What's the name of the book?
I think it's called Renology. I will send it to you.
Please,
we'll put it in
do.
the show notes, guys, so that, and it's not, and again, she'll shoot me for saying that. It's not putting you to sleep because you're bored. It's putting you to sleep because it's going to overwhelm you with information.
No, I mean,
it's the kind of book you got to just, this is what I do with books like this. I just open it.
You just open it and you just...
And you consume. And so often, it's the weirdest thing, Chris, so often, it's something you needed to see.
I agree with
Do
you
you
100%.
find that?
Because I agree with you 100% because literally I got a bigger book about like Chinese medicine and mixed with Western medicine, and I'll do this. To read every single thing, I literally would go, I fell that when I open up a piece of literature and I read something, I go, I will need to read whatever I open to, and that was meant for that time. That's what I always tell myself.
Yeah. It's either something you didn't know that you needed, it's something you were looking for,
or
it's something that all of a sudden in the next little short time you're like, oh my God, I just read something about that. Okay, this is a little woo. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean you don't go back to the book when you're looking for something to find it, but sometimes you just got to open it up to any page.
But you know that's what people will tell you when they contact you. They go, hey, I was having a horrible day, a rough day, and then I opened up one of my books, and all of a sudden I had a word, they say, for myself.
Yeah, like a self-help book, whatever.
I was like, oh, I needed that right today. And when you say Renology, the one thing that I really love is, for me, whenever I look into kidney issues, the kidney issue for me is, in Chinese medicine, kidneys and bladder are so important. And when you tell me that, it is so central because all the arteries that branch off the renal artery area go to your prostate, go to your uterus, go to your ovaries, go to your pelvic region. Branches come off of that.
Yeah.
And people, I'm like, if you have kidney disease, you'll have infections going to the bloodstream to those other organs. And that's why I'm like, the kidneys are so important.
Well, and also, if you have a blood pressure problem, your kidneys are part of the problem. Guess what? You have cardiovascular disease. Take care of the kidneys and the heart and the blood vessels.
Oh, we're best friends. This is what I'm saying.
You know, kidney chi is a thing. And her point is that, you know how, people are being told you're fine on blood sugar regulation until the day they've fallen off the cliff and they're type 2 diabetes. But in the last 10 years, at any time, had they been given the right information, they could have been pulled back from that cliff.
Yes.
And she says for CKD, the percentage of people walking around with stage 2 kidney disease, which is preliminary.
Yeah.
And if only they knew and they were being helped with it and supported and helped not to get to stage 3 or stage 4 chronic kidney.
Yes. Okay. We got to do another podcast on this, even if I know you go. Like,
well, you need to get her on because she's the queen.
Okay, well...
She's the empress of the kidney.
I do. Okay, but I mean, we're going to stay in contact about it because I think that the prevalence, like you just said, especially in young... I mean, it's for girls too, but young men that come in that are young and below 5 years old, and the amount of kidney infections they have in kidney chi and amount of bladder infections, like they're wetting the bed, they're biting their nail, and you go back and it goes to their kidney, and they'll have an infection, and you start cleaning up with homeopathics. I do a lot of homeopathics. I'll go in there and you find out the infections, get the symptoms to come up to the surface, clean up with little herbs. I'm not patting myself on the back.
Yeah.
But literally their fears go away because the adrenals drive the fear on the kidney. Mm-hmm. And it's such a missed thing. That's why I'm saying I love this. I got to talk to her. This is... Oh,
100%.
It makes my nerd come out of me.
No, and she's going to love this because this is exactly where she's going to go. I mean, it's... You know, when you look at traditional Chinese medicine, and we look at every organ is associated with an emotion.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And to dismiss that and to not take it into account is such a miss. Right? And because, again, it's a little bit about the thoughts.
Yes.
And maybe the thoughts are being driven by an organ that's suffering.
That's exactly right.
And if we can address the organ, maybe it can help the energetics. I mean, it's, again, I know for some of you, we're stretching your brain a little bit here, or stretching the belief, but it's all connected. Like, we don't operate as silos.
No, that's a great line. I mean, that's a great thought. And you're right. There comes points where I know, and you know, like even in Chinese medicine, they'll say like this emotion's associated with this organ. And people say, oh, how do you know? I said, no, there's some beauty in it. There are physiological and biochemical truths that would tell you why this organ is associated with this emotion. I'm telling you, it's just not out there in the mainstream, and it's not talked about.
No.
And having researchers and like us, like trying to like put some information out there is where it's at.
Yeah. I mean, look, lungs are the organs of grief,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. When I ended my first marriage, I got the most unbelievable case of bronchitis.
Oh my word!
Like unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it, but I think I was seeing a TCM doctor at the time, and she goes, "Well, you're processing." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I got a bug." She goes, she's like, "No," and maybe I did get a bug, but the energy in that organ went down.
Yes.
Right? Energetically, that organ was no longer being nourished.
Yes.
And maybe it was from not being nourished and then coming across the right bacteria at the wrong time. Like we could put it in terms of conventional medicine.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, there's an energetic piece to it.
Yes.
That is irrefutable.
That's mic drop. I'm telling you, that's exactly
Boom,
right.
and we're done.
This is like, oh man, we definitely. I know, like, with our conversations, I really feel comfortable talking with you. This has been such a good time. I mean, really, honestly, we probably could go on more and more, and we would but we will. But
all good things must come to an end.
I know. This is like makes me sad.
People have places to go, things to do, people to see.
Well, okay, so we always end on this. Like, there's a couple things. Where can people find you, and what's your Instagram feed and your social media?
So my Instagram is at Nathalie Niddam, Natalie with an H, Nathalie, because I'm French.
Yeah.
And that's how French do H's. They just throw them in for decorative purposes because we don't pronounce them. So at Nathalie Niddam is Instagram. natniddam.com is my website where you can get information about my membership community, newsletter, all the things. And then the podcast is where we're going to continue a conversation on my podcast. That's what we'll do. And that's Longevity with Nathalie Niddam.
That's going to be beautiful. And then, okay, one last thing before we go. What's something that nobody knows about you? Not like, just like a hobby or something that you love to do.
What's a hobby that I love to do?
Like, or that or something that nobody would know about you.
Well, nobody really knows that I was obsessed with horses when I was a little kid, but that's like a little girl thing. I was born in Casablanca. How's that?
Wow. Okay. Guys, seriously, Nat, I really appreciate you being so patient with me, and I was late today, but I'm really thinking this is a great conversation. Guys, please follow her, check her information out, and I want to have another podcast with you because we could go further and further. So, guys, if you love this information, like and subscribe. Remember, if you have any more questions, drop it in our comment section and let us know what other questions you'd like for us to talk about. All right? From all of us here at the Ancient Health Podcast, thank you so much. Talk to you again.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.